Today we're discussing your 401k.
401k plans have been around for a while, but when it comes to your retirement plan, there's still a lot more to know.
Plus, investment advisor Abby Hunt-Rods joins us to talk about how your 401k fits into your retirement plan. Right now on Retiring Today. You're watching Retiring Today. I'm Molly Nelson and this is Lauren Merkle, Certified Financial Planner, and today's show is all about the 401k plan. Lauren, you talk to families every day. They sit down with you and they talk about their financial future and their retirement, and a 401k is a big piece of that retirement.
Yeah, this is such an important topic because the 401k plan is one of the most widely used investment vehicles. However, it is still one of the most overlooked vehicles as far as all the nuance that goes into it, all the moving parts. And I think that's largely in part because it is so easy to contribute to. I mean, a lot of these 401k plans, when you start an employer or when you first become eligible, many of them you have to check a box in order to not contribute to. So there's an automatic contribution element to the plan, so you don't need to know a whole lot about the plans, just your money starts going into them right away.
Yeah, and I know there's been times in my life when I have had a 401k plan. You set it up usually one time and then you just cross your fingers that it's earning the most it can for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much a set it and forget it type of plan, which is kind of the magic behind it, to get people to start contributing to their retirement longevity. However, because of that, they do set it and forget it, and then there's a lot of other things that can creep into it as far as penalties and taxes and how do you create tax diversification that many people don't think about because it is such an automatic type of retirement contribution type vehicle. So today, Part of what we're going to talk about is how do you use this 401k plan within your overall retirement plan? How do you use it in conjunction with maybe a pension that you have, certainly Social Security that you have, or other investable assets that you have as well? And I think it's important to note that when we're talking about 401k plans on today's show, we're saying 401k plan just to keep it easy. But what we're really talking about is any of the employer-sponsored plans that you may have. So many of you out there may not have a 401k plan. Maybe you have a 403b plan, a TSA, TSP. Mm-hmm. We're grouping all of that into this conversation, but to make things easy for us, we're just saying 401k plan.
Okay, and to make it visual for you at home, we've put this board together. Actually, Allison, one of our producers of the show, she put this beautiful board together here, and we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the 401k. Okay, so first, Lauren, reveal the good about the 401k.
Well, the first part, and we have three categories. So we're going to talk about the investment option piece, and then we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the contributions, and then the loan. So we're going to start up here with the investment options. First, the good, as far as the investment options. Let's go ahead and reveal. Decent enough investment. Doesn't that sound exciting?
If I come in and meet with you, please don't say, Molly, your investments are decent enough, because I might not like that.
They're decent enough.
Yeah, right. Not what you're looking for, right?
No, not really. But the good of, and as Allison said, this isn't the great, the bad, and the ugly. This is the good, the bad, and the ugly.
So got it. Okay.
Yeah, so decent enough investment options. What does that mean? What that means is that you have a handful of options underneath the plan that now you can select from. By law, the plan is required to have a minimum amount. Most plans have many more than what the law requires. So you might have 10 options, you might have 15, you might actually have a brokerage account available where you can invest in just about anything you want to. So the investment options is really important, especially in this type of market cycle. Because the market cycle, everybody's talking about it. They probably talk to you about it at work. What are they talking about as far as this market cycle?
When is it going to go down?
When is it going to go down? Because we haven't had it go down since 2008. Right. And everybody is just curious or worried about when this next recession is going to hit. So to prevent that from turning your 401k into a 201k, what you have to do is create a diversified portfolio. And the way you do that is through using the decent enough investment options underneath your plan. So that's the good of the investment piece of it, is usually you have 5, 10, 15, 20 different investment options to create a portfolio that might get you to your retirement goals.
Okay, 401ks, investment options, the good, the bad, the ugly. What's up on the bad?
Giving up control. This is an important one. This is an important one, and this is one that unless you really think about how the 401k plan works or understand how it works, you won't really notice this one right away. Because when we say you give up control on your 401k plan, most people are thinking What do you mean? I have these decent enough investment options. I can select and change anytime I want to. I have control. When we're talking about giving up control, that's not what we're talking about. What we are talking about is if you want to take your money out of that account, you have very few options to take that money out. And we're going to talk about some of those exceptions when you can take money out later on in the show. But as far as controlling your money, you can choose amongst the 10 different options they give you, investment options, but you can't take it out without some exceptions. And you really can't do a whole lot with it except for leave it underneath of there until you hit these age requirements.
Yeah, and your area of expertise is really people 10 years out from retirement and beyond, and this is very important for that age group, right?
It becomes more and more important the older you do get or the closer you get to retirement, because the closer you get to retirement, the less mistakes you can handle, the less mistakes your retirement plan can handle. So it becomes increasingly important the closer you get.
Okay, the good, the bad, and the ugly of the investment options inside a 401k, the fees.
High fees. There's been a lot of studies over the last decade on this topic alone, because one of the things that we often have heard as we're growing up and saving our money with the 401k plan is 401k plans have low expenses. That is true in some cases, but in many cases what happens is the fees that you see are low to none, but the fees that you really pay with all of the hidden fees. And there's layers and layers of hidden fees usually within the 401k or the employer-sponsored plan that just erode your investment power. And again, there's study after study on the hidden fees of this, and we talk about it quite a bit on the show. What we just need to be cognizant of, let's do some investigative work with the options you have underneath the plan, find lowest or lower cost options, and still create the diversification that you need to succeed within your retirement goals.
401ks, the good and the bad, the ugly with your contributions.
Contributions, the good with the contributions is you get free money many times.
Free money?
Who does not like free money?
Do.
Contribute to your, even if you feel like you can't afford it. If your company is giving you a match, which is the free money, you want to at least contribute up to that match to get that free money. If they're going to match 100% on your first 6% and you contribute 6%, that's a 100% return just with the free money, not to mention what the market or your underlying investments may do for you. So the free money, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's a good one. Contributions, the 401k, the bad, limits. What's that mean?
Well, what that means is that you are limited to how much you can contribute to the plan. The IRS or ERISA limits you as far as how much you can contribute to your 401k plan. So if you're under 50, 2019 contribution limits are $19,000 for the year. If you're 50 or older, you have a contribution catch-up, so your total contribution limit is more than that. It's about $25,000 for the year.
Okay, contributions, the ugly.
Opportunity cost. If you're not investing in your 401k plan, so if we take all the bads, all the uglies, and we add that up and it outweighs these goods in your particular circumstance, there might be some other options that it does not make the most sense to contribute to the employer plan. But if we're funneling all of our money here and it leaves nothing left to do these other things, it might really hinder your ability to do what you want to do with retirement.
Okay, let's talk about 401k loans now, the good.
This is something that you don't get with many other loan opportunities. If you go to the bank and you want a loan, they're going to do a credit check. Right? With the 401k plan, it's your money. There are some restrictions as far as how you take the money out, how much you can take out. You're going to pay some interest on it, but you're paying yourself the interest, not to a lending institution. But there's no credit checks on this loan that you take out.
Okay, the bad on loans within a 401k.
If you separate service, let's say you have a $10,000 loan from your 401k plan, you're paying it back every pay period, but when you separate service due to termination or you retire, whatever that is, you take that, you have to pay back that loan, and if you don't, if you're under 59 and a half, then you have a 10% penalty in addition to any of the taxes that are present as well.
Okay, and finally, the ugly.
Lose your job, must pay it all back in full. That's just what I referenced as far as the bad as far as the penalties. If you lose your job or you leave, now you have a window of which you have to pay that loan back in full. Otherwise, you could be penalized, and certainly have taxes on that money that you did not pay back.
Okay, good information, Lauren. You're watching Retiring Today. Today's show is all about the 401k Coming up next, we have Abby Huntrod's investment advisor representative. She's talking about how your 401k fits into your retirement plan.
You have worked for a long time. There are so many decisions to make about your retirement. How much income do you need? How not to run out of money? Now is your chance, and you get one shot to get it right. Attend Merkle Retirement Planning's Passport to Retirement. We will discuss how to create tax-free income, how to avoid the next market meltdown, and how to wring every dime out of Social Security. Your time is now. Classes fill quickly. Call or text today. Zero cost to attend.
You made it. Years of hard work, investing, planning, and now you are here. The long-awaited reward you spent a lifetime looking forward to. But what now? After years of growing a nest egg, now you may want to manage it. Use it to fund your dreams. Make it last as long as you need it, and leave some for those you love. So what do? Wall Street continues to be uncertain, and some conservative options have dropped through the floor. How do you maintain opportunities for growth and reduce risk of loss from market changes? That's where we come in. We are Merkle Retirement Planning, your personal retirement planners. From investments to tax reduction strategies and creating your blueprint to retirement guide. Have the confidence to retire today. You worked a lifetime to get here. Let us help you enjoy it to the fullest. For a complimentary visit, contact us today. Merkle Retirement Planning.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. Today we're covering the 401k plan and how it fits into your retirement plan. But first we're going back to the basics to teach you how the 401k plan started. I'm here with Abby Huntrod and Lauren Merkle. Abby is an investment advisor representative and Lauren is a certified financial planner, and a 401k is a big part of what you talk to families about every day. And Abby, you've got a little history lesson for us today. The 401k really it's a newer investment plan for people.
Yeah, it absolutely hasn't always been around. The bottom line, though, history is not all that exciting for most people, but the bottom line is that retirement planning has changed. So it's different now than it was for, say, my grandparents, your grandparents' generation. It used to just be as simple as taking your pension and taking your Social Security and maybe supplementing those two income sources with a little bit of savings on top of that. With the shift to the 401k plan, though, it's put a lot of the retirement planning responsibility on the employees. So now we have to actively and intentionally contribute to those plans to save for our retirement. Pensions are less common now than they used to be.
Yeah, actually the 401k plans haven't been around all that long. They've only been around for a few decades, but they have really taken off. Most people know the 401k plan. Many people are using the 401k plan. And the really important takeaway from this segment is, how do you use it? How do pre-retirees use it within their retirement plan, and how do retirees use it within their retirement plan? Because the pre-retirees, most of them are going to use it a little bit differently than once you retire. So we're going to talk about the differences of what phase of your retirement you're in and how you're going to use the plans, and what key takeaways you can take from using the 401k plan. Okay,
so Abby's up first. And Abby, what does the 401k plan look like for pre-retirees, and how do they use it?
So as you get into your 50s and maybe a little bit closer to retirement, you start thinking about what that next phase of your life might look like. There's a few important things that you need to evaluate. So one, if you're under the age of 59 and a half, you're probably limited to the investment options that are provided within the 401k plan. But evaluate the risks that you're taking within that plan so that you know when this next recession hits, what are you potentially exposed to losing? Because in some situations in 2008, we saw a lot of people that it actually set back their retirement because they lost more than they thought they could. So making sure that your investment risk is on target with where you're at, depending on how far out you are from retirement, is one component. And then a lot of people don't know that once you get to age 59 and a half, you actually, in a lot of plans, can take control of your money and do what is called an in-service distribution, which just means that you're taking control of what you've accumulated throughout your working years, And then you can invest it in anything that makes sense for you. So you're no longer limited to the investment options within the 401k through your provider or through your employer. And also, you can a lot of times then reduce the investment expense. So within most 401k plans, you have to invest in the mutual funds that they offer as options. If you move that money to an IRA, now you can invest in much more cost-effective type investments. So that's definitely a good thing that you want to do as soon as you have the option to do so.
Okay, so 401k, that's how a pre-retiree might look at it. Once you're retired, Lauren, what do you do with that 401k?
Once you're retired, for most retirees, there are a few exceptions, but for most retirees, once you are no longer working with that employer, you do want to take control over that money. And this goes back to the good, the bad, and the ugly segment when we said one of the bad parts about the 401k plan is you don't have control. And the biggest detriment to having your money underneath the 401k plan is that employer owns that plan. Anytime that employer changes that plan, whether it's the investment selections or the custodian that it's at, which is where your money is actually housed, where you log on to see your account, any of those changes that they make will have a direct impact on your money. And when you're in retirement and you may be dependent upon using this money either now or 2 years, 3 years down the road, you want as much control over your retirement as you possibly can. So taking control over it, and doing a rollover where you don't pay taxes on the rollover, and it continues to grow tax deferred, but now once it's underneath your name, your control, you can literally invest in just about anything you want to. As Abby mentioned, control the fees now, bring the fees down as much as you can, and then create a truly diversified portfolio, all in the name of increasing the probability that you can have that successful retirement.
Okay, so some people sitting at home might be thinking what I'm thinking, like, I don't really know what I'm paying for fees. I don't even really maybe know exactly what I'm investing in, because sometimes you may have three options. You want to take a lot of risk, a little risk, or low risk. And it's like when I was 20 something and I set one of these up a long time ago, I mean, is that something your professional financial advisor can sit down and really outline for you what you're doing in there?
Most of the time not. And the reason why is most advisors, at least in our experience, don't know about the hidden fees. And it's not any deficiency on their side. It's just this is not talked about virtually anywhere. But if you do the research, and by the way, with the analysis that we provide, we don't actually physically find these hidden fees. We outsource that to a third party, and that's all that third party does. Because especially in the 401k plans, there's just layers and layers of fees, only some of which you can see. So if you're like Molly, and you're like, I don't know where to find these hidden fees. Are there hidden fees? How much? It's not your fault. That's just the way that these plans are set up. But it does not mean you have to be a victim of those hidden fees. So find a way to, and this is part of what we do, we talk about this at our class all the time, is here's the hidden fees, here's how you find them, here's where you look at them, and this is just a part of your investigative process to make sure you're investing the smartest way for you as you go to and through retirement.
And you heard Lauren mention the class. We'll get to that in just a moment. It's a really neat opportunity for you to hear from the team about some of your retirement investment options. So stick around for more on the Passport to Retirement class. But we want to come back to Abby just real quickly, because this is a common question that you guys get. If I have a Roth option inside my 401k, what should I do?
Yeah, so it's a new option within a lot of 401k plans to do after-tax contributions. And the benefit to that is then that the growth in the Roth portion of your 401k is no longer taxable down the road. So it allows you to build in a lot of tax diversification within your portfolio, which in retirement can really make a big difference on your spendable income, because you can choose kind of where you're pulling income from depending on where this tax legislation goes in the future. So it doesn't always make sense for everyone. We're not recommending that everyone, absolutely go with the Roth option, but if you have it available to you in your plan, you should definitely talk to a professional and explore whether or not that is the best option for you.
Abby, that's really good information. Now we want to give you some more information. It's our Ask the Advisor segment. Here's a question that we've had here from Charles and Ames. How often should I change 401k allocations? We'll answer that and much more when Retiring Today continues.
You have worked for a long time. There are so many decisions to make about your retirement. How much income do you need? How not to run out of money? Now is your chance, and you get one shot to get it right. Attend Merkle Retirement Planning's Passport to Retirement. We will discuss how to create tax-free income, how to avoid the next market meltdown, and how to wring every dime out of Social Security. Your time is now. Classes fill quickly. Call or text today. Zero cost to attend.
It's your retirement. How will you live it? How will you be remembered?
Will you be able to take me on vacation? Will you be there for my ball games? Will you teach me your values? Will you be able to play with me? Oh, help me go to college. How will I remember you?
Have the retirement you dream about. Contact us today.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. Before the break, we shared with you this question. Charles and Ames asked us, how often do I change my 401k allocations? Well, this guy knows the answer. This is Lauren Merkle. He's a certified financial planner, and he sits down with pre-retirees and retirees every day, and a 401k is a big part of what you talk to those families about. So what do you tell Charles when you talk to him?
The easy answer, Charles, is you want to set that up to rebalance it or change your allocations at least once a year. Now, there's some notion out there that you might want to do that quarterly or semi-annually. With the types of investments that most people have underneath their 401k plan, that can actually work against you for a myriad of reasons. One is we don't know what those portfolio managers under those mutual funds are doing, right? We are paying them to navigate through this market, do the research and do the buys and sells. So they're buying and selling underneath of it. And when we reallocate, we're selling and we're buying and we have no idea what's going on underneath. So a less frequent rebalance or reallocation strategy is often the best way to go, except for if you are in those types of funds like the Lifetime 2020, 2030, all of that rebalance, all that reallocation is done for you, so you don't need to do that. Except for if your risk profile changes. And what I mean by that is if you decide that if you're moderate now and you want to change to be more conservative or you want to change to be more aggressive, then of course then you're going to need to change that allocation.
Well, and as you were talking, I was sort of thinking about investing through the decades of your life, and I'm so far from retirement, that you're more aggressive. So I was even thinking the allocations change from your 20s and 30s to 40s and 50s to if you're working still in your 60s, right?
Yeah, so having a regular schedule like once a year I think is okay, unless again you're in those 2020, 2030 because they do it for you. But yes, when your risk profile or the amount of risk that you need to take or want to take changes, whether it's due to age or the market cycle or just your appetite for risk, we go through an experience like 2008 and people didn't realize that they were taking that much risk. And we're now in 2019 and people say, I don't want to go through that again. We haven't had that recession type of market volatility since 2008. We know it's probably coming sooner or later, so maybe now's a good time to kind of take some off the table, right? So instances outside the regular schedule of once a year is acceptable, but the easy answer again, probably once a year.
401ks have been the subject of today's episode, and now Lauren's going to wrap it up for us with our key takeaways.
Yes, there's so much we talked about today. There's 3 quick things I just want to give you to say. If there's nothing else that you take away from today's show, here's the 3 things. The first one, take advantage of the free money when it's there. So if you're not contributing to the 401k plan or you're not maximizing it to get all of the employer contribution, we need to change that. We need as much of that free money as we can to help us get to and through our retirement goals. A big one, especially where we're at in this market cycle, is make sure you're taking the appropriate amount of risk as for what you can tolerate as well as what you need to accomplish your retirement goals. So there's 2 things there. One is how much risk are you comfortable with? When we go through this next recession, your portfolio loses 40%. Nobody likes to lose money, but are you comfortable with that? Are you comfortable with that volatility? If not, then you need to do something about it prior to this next recession. 2, with the risk is how much risk do you need to take? You have specific goals or you have general goals of let's retire. Here's where you are. Here's where you want to be. What kind of risk is it going to take you to get or to accomplish those goals. And then the third one, and this is the one that people don't necessarily recognize right away because it's not as easy, but take control of your money when you can. So if you're 59 and a half or older and you're still working, most employer plans allow you to take control over it. Most of the time that's a good thing. When you retire, certainly in most circumstances it makes sense to take control over that money. Gives you a lot more options, a lot better ability to control the fees and create a truly diversified portfolio.
Okay, so Lauren, this workbook has been in front of us this segment, and when it comes to retirement, the 401k is just one small piece of all the things that you need to think about. So there's a resource, I think, Lauren, that's really great for people to know about when they start thinking about all the pieces of retirement.
We are extremely excited about this passport class. Retirement planning is what we love to do. We're passionate about it. We love to educate. This is why we do the show. This is why we wrote the book. This is why we do what we do. This is another way that you can gain access to the retirement planning information that you need to help the probabilities of a successful retirement.
Okay, so Passport to Retirement is a class offered by the team here, and you can go to it for free. It's held all over the state of Iowa. So where should people go to get information, and how do they sign up?
Go to the website on the screen. You can also text us at the number on the screen. Again, it doesn't cost you anything, and we talk about the 5 specific planning components. Areas from investment planning, tax planning, healthcare, long-term care planning, estate planning. So when we have our last day, how do we move our money to our beneficiaries in the most efficient way possible? All these different areas we talk about at the class to help give you the information that you need to make better decisions. And really what we're trying to do is avoid the what if. What if 5 years from now you don't want to be looking back and thinking, what if I would have made this decision? What if I would have done this? Information in this class can help people avoid the what if.
Okay, thanks, Lauren. Information is a big piece of the retirement picture. We thank you for watching Retiring Today.
You have worked for a long time. There are so many decisions to make about your retirement. How much income do you need? How not to run out of money? Now is your chance, and you get one shot to get it right. Attend Merkle Retirement Planning's Passport to Retirement. We will discuss how to create tax-free income, how to avoid the next market meltdown, and how to wring every dime out of Social Security. Your time is now. Classes fill quickly. Call or text today. Zero cost to attend.
It's your retirement. How will you live it? How will you be remembered?
Will you be able to take me on vacation? Will you be there for my ball games? Will you teach me your values? You'll be able to play with me? Or help me go to college? How will I remember you?
Have the retirement you dream about. Contact us today.
From our family to yours, we hope you have a wonderful weekend. We hope you enjoy the show. Good night, Greg.